My dear students, welcome to the fourth session on classes and objects. I have discussed how to declare and define the classes and objects in the session 1, and also I have discussed what is access specifiers. And in the second session, I have discussed what is member functions. In the third session, I have discussed different types of member functions with the program. But I have not discussed in detail anything about objects. In today's session, I will be discussing about the object. Along with that, I will also discuss what is arrays, and also I will discuss what is arrays of objects. So my dear students, let us get into the session. So suppose if you have not watched 1, 2, 3 sessions, please go back and check the 3 videos and then you watch this video is what I would like to suggest before starting my session. Moving on. Defining the object, that is very important. Before getting into this topic, I would like to give you some of the background knowledge with respect to the object with an example. My dear students, what is that they have given? Object is a real world element. Object is a real world element. So please observe, object is a real world element which is identifiable entity with some characteristics and behavior. That is very important here, you need to understand, which has got the characteristics and behavior. So what is the meaning of characteristics and behavior, sir? So remember this definition. I would like to take up an example and then I would like to explain this definition to all of you. Remember, real world entity in the sense, whatever I have in this world, that I will call it as a real world entity. Sir, what does it mean, sir? How do I identify the entities then? So whatever the element or entity that you take, for example, I'm taking this pen. So this pen is also be treated as entity. Sir, how? How are you considering this as a entity? If I have some of the properties and behavior, so then I will call this as a entity. Sir, what is the meaning of property? Property in the sense, height of this pen, color of this pen, type of this pen, cost of this pen, all these things I will call it as a properties. The properties will define this element or this entity. So that is what I will call it as a property. Yes, I have got the property for this. Then what is the behavior? Behavior in the sense, what is the function that it performs? So behavior in the sense, using this pen, I will be able to write, I will be able to draw, I will be able to sketch, I will be able to do some of the activities with respect to this pen. So which are all the activities that I do with respect to this pen? I will call that as a behavior. I will call that as a behavior. Remember one thing, suppose any entity which has got both properties and behavior, then I will call it as a real world entity, my dear students. So any object can be called as a real world entity when they have characteristics and behavior. So that is how you will be identifying the object. That is the first point that you should remember. What is that? Any real world entity which has got the characteristics and behavior. So that I will call it as a real world entity. So can you give me some examples with respect to the real world entity? Yes, you have lights, you have fan, you have desk, you have classroom. So anything, whatever you take, make sure that whether you have these two things or not. What is that two things? One is characteristics, another one is behavior. These two important things you should have. Suppose if you have, then you can call that as object. That is the first point that you should remember with respect to the object. What is the second one that I have? So second point with respect to the object is an instance of class. Object is an instance of class. Sir, what is the meaning of instance? Instance in the sense it is a copy, it is a replica. I have created a class. What is the meaning of class? Class in the sense user defined data type. Yes, I have a class called student. If I am creating a copy of that class, so then this I will call it as an object. This is a class and this is a object. So what is this object? Object is a copy of this class. Am I being clear? Let's take an example. I have given you a handwritten note and I will ask all of you to take a photocopy, that is Xerox is what you say, right? So I will ask you to take a photocopy of that particular note. Suppose if you take photocopy, 10 photocopy of that particular note, that 10 copies is what I will call it as a objects. The 10 copies is what I would like to call it as a object. Whatever the notes that I have given, that handwritten notes, so that is class. So from this class you have taken the photocopy. This photocopy I will call it as a object. So these photocopies or this Xerox is what I will call it as a instance. This is what you need to remember at this point of time. So my dear students, if I take a word called object, you need to remember 2 points. One is a real world element or real world entity which has got characteristics and behavior, and it is a instance of a class, and it is an instance of a class. What is the meaning of instance? Instance in the sense it is a replica of the class. That is what you need to remember. The third important thing, how do I declare an object? So how do I declare an object? Syntax to declare the object is what I will be discussing now. So guys, what is the syntax? First of all, you need to write the name of the class. So that is what I will write, the class name. So followed by you will write the name of the object. You will write the name of the object. Then after that you will end with a semicolon. That is a syntax to define any object. So for example, let's consider I have a class called student. Okay, so what is the name of the class that I have? I have student. So for this I need to create the object. So how do I create the object? So my dear students, I will just write student S1, student S1. So what is the meaning of student here? So can you just tell me what is the meaning of student here? My dear students, student is a name of the class. Student is a name of the class. Then what is this? What is this S1? S1 is a object name. S1 is a object name, my dear students, and this is a class name. This is a class name. Remember, this is the syntax to create the object. This is syntax to create the object. So 3 points you need to remember in this slide. The first one is behavior and properties. The second point, it is a replica of the class. Third point, syntax to create the object. This is the 3 points that you should remember in this slide, my dear students. Moving on to the next one. My dear students, in this slide, I will be discussing array as a member of a class. Array as a member of the class. What is the meaning? Array as a member of the class in the sense, my dear students, in the beginning of the class, I have discussed two important things. One is data member, another one is member function. So data member in the sense what? If you have any variables inside the class, that I will call it as a data member. So my dear students, here I will be taking the array as a data member. Array as a data member in the sense what? Sir, I am going to declare a variable of type array. So that I will call it as a data member. So I am discussing this concept in this slide. So you need to remember one more thing. So you should know the basics of arrays before I start discussing this. Sir, what is this? What is the basics of array? My dear students, arrays in the sense it is an ordered collection of elements of same type. Ordered collection of elements of same type. Sir, what is the meaning of it? Remember, suppose if I have something like this. Sir, if I have something like this, let me tell you, I'm just storing 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what I'm storing. So 1 is also of what type? 1 is of what type? 1 is integer, 2 is integer, 3 is also integer, and 4 is also integer. So this is what I will call it as. So all the data of same type. Of what type? Of integer type. And it has got the index which is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. What is the name of the array? Let me just name it as A. What is the name of the array? The name of the array is A. What is that I have stored inside the array? I have stored 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is what you need to remember. So my dear students, if I want to store anything inside this array, so it should be of same data type, point number 1. Point number 2, and it should store in the continuous memory location. It should store in the continuous memory location. I cannot skip any one of these locations and I cannot store any element. That is the important point that you should remember. One more thing, suppose if I have stored 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, I will just write A. Can I store like this? No, I cannot store like this. So it violates the rules of array. So this is what the basic idea that you should have with respect to the array. Then what is the syntax to create this array? Yes, first I should write the data type. First I should write the data type, and then I should write the name of the array. My name of the array is A here, and I have to write the size. I have to write the size inside the square brackets, So that is what I will call it as a size of the array. So this is the basic information that you should have about the array. Moving on to the topic now. So guys, how do I create the array as a data member inside the class? Very simple. So you all know that. So you should use the keyword called class, and then you should use the name of the class. What is the name of the class here? My class name is marks. So inside the class, I will be writing, so int m of 5. This is the array which I am going to create inside the class. This is the array that I am going to create inside the class. You need to observe here, what is this 5? The 5, whatever I have written, that is what I will call it as a size. So what is this m here? So m is the name of the array which I am going to create. My dear students, you need to observe this. So what is this int? Int is a data type. Int is a data type. What type of elements that I can store in the array? So I can store integer elements inside this array. That is what you need to remember. This is how I will be creating the array inside the class. So this array is what I will call it as a data member. This I will call it as a data member inside the class. My dear students, please make a note of it. So this is how I will be creating the array. So I know I understood how to create the arrays and what is arrays, what do I store in the array. So now moving on to the next one, that is very, very important. Array of objects. What is the meaning of array of objects? An array having a class type element is known as array of objects. So we are not understanding anything by this definition. My dear students, you need to concentrate. You need to listen to me now. So take a notepad. So make a note of all the points which I am going to explain now. Very important now. Imagine I have a class and the name of the class is student. Name of the class is student. So inside this, I am going to create two data member. So under the public access specifier, the first one is integer, that is register number. So what is the first thing that I have? Register number. Second one, so I have the data type as character and the name array. And I'm going to create the array type. Okay, so let me just close it as of now. Let me just close it. I have not mentioned any functions here. So this is just an example that I wanted to take up to explain the concept of array of object. Yes, if I want to create the object for this class, how do I create? Obviously you all know that. So you should take up the student. What is student here? Name of the class, and then I will create the object, that is S1. Suppose, imagine I have 50 students. How many students I have? 50 students. So I should store the details of all the 50 students individually. How many objects that I should take? How many objects that I should create? Very good. I should create 50 objects. How can I create? So S1 to S2. So here I will not be using this. Let me just take, here I will not be using this. I'm just using the comma. I'm just using the comma. S3, S4, like this. It goes on S50. So like this I have to create 50 objects. So what is that I'm storing in this 50 object? Let me just tell you S1. In the sense, inside this I will be storing, I'll be storing what? What is the first one that I have? I'll be storing the register number. I'll be storing the register number. What is the second one that I have? I'll be storing the name. I'll be storing the name. Like this, I will create S2. So same thing, I will create register number and name. So this information is of whose? That is second student. Like this, 50 students I have, 50 objects I will create. Is it easy for me to remember all this objects name? Imagine I have 1000 students. Is it easy for me to create 1000 objects? One point of time, it is very difficult for me to track all these objects. Then how do I solve this problem, sir? So to solve this problem, I have the concept called array of objects. I have the concept called array of objects. How do I solve this problem with the help of array of objects, sir? My dear students, remember I have told you arrays in the sense, my dear students, remember I have told you array in the sense you should remember this kind of square brackets. My dear students, you should remember array in the sense you should remember something like this. Yes or no? Remember, I have the class, and for this class, the name of the class is student. So here, so you have public. So inside this public, you have register number, and then you have character array, that is name. So this is what you have as of now in my example. So my dear students, so what is that I am doing? I am creating the object of type array. I am creating object of type array. So how I am creating? So student, yes, 1 of 10. Yes, 1 of 10. So here, what is the student? So student in the sense name of the class. Student in the sense name of the class. Yes, 1 is what? Yes, 1 is a object name. Yes, 1 is a object name. That is what you need to remember. Yes, 1 is a object name. But you should observe, sir, this yes 1 is an object name, but of what type? Of array type. But of what type? Of array type. Yes, 1 in the sense, remember my dear students, this is the array that I have created. What is the name of this array? Name of this array will be yes 1. Name of this array will be yes 1. Of which class? Of student class. You got my concept? Yes. Listen to me carefully now. So I have created the yes 1. Okay. The index goes like this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this first location, what is that I will be storing? Sir, listen here. I will be storing register number, and also I will be storing the name. This belongs to first student. This belongs to first student. Remember, the same way I will store the register number and name of second student. Of second students. Like this, I will store all the 50 students information in one just single array. So you just have to remember only one name, that is yes 1. But I'm able to store all the 50 students. Suppose if you have 1000 students, yes, in that case also I just have to remember only one name, that is yes 1. So this is how the array of objects is helping me to solve this problem, my dear students. This is how the array of object is helping to solve the naming conventional problems, my dear students. Hope you understood this concept. Moving on to the next one. So you can just take a look of a program which is creating 3 different array of objects. So what is this? This is the class keyword. So what is this? Employee. Employee is the name of the class. And then inside this class, I have the access specifier, that is private. Inside that, my dear students, remember I'm taking the name array of type character. What is the name array? Of type character. So after that, I have taken the variable, that is int age. Then inside that, I have given the functions, that is void read data and void display data. I have declared 2 functions. Then after that, you need to observe here. So my dear students, this is very, very important. This is what I'm trying to explain now. So what is this employee? Employee is the name of the class. Employee is the name of the class. What is this supervisor? So supervisor is a object of type array. Supervisor is object of type array. Like that, I have created 3 different objects with different names. Hope I have explained everything in the previous class, which will help you to understand the concept of array of objects, my dear students. Moving on to the next one. The next concept is object as a function arguments. So what is the meaning of object as a function argument, sir? If I have any function, suppose if you are sending any parameters, that parameters should be your object. So that is what I will call it as a object as a functional arguments. Suppose if you are sending the entire object as a parameter, my dear students, so that is what I will call it as a object as a function arguments. So how it is possible? So how many ways that I can send is what I'm going to discuss now. My dear students, function can receive object as a function arguments. So that is the first point that you should remember. Can I send the object as a parameter? Object as an argument? Yes, you can send the entire object. In the previous example, I have taken S1, right? So the entire S1, I can send it as a object parameter. So for example, imagine I have the function called square. Imagine I have a function called square. Inside this, I have int a. So what is this int a? This is what I will call it as a parameter. So here I will just write a simple written function. So guys, here this is what I will call it as a arguments or parameters. Can I send in this place? Can I send the object? Yes, you can send, is what they are trying to explain in the first point. Yes, to your function I can send my object is what I'm trying to explain with the first point. What is the second point that I have? This is similar to any other data being sent. I have int a. In the same way, I will be sending my object also. There is no special syntax for this, is what they are trying to explain in the second point. So my dear students, how many ways I can send? I can send in two ways. Remember, very, very important. The first one is pass by value. First one is pass by value. Sir, I'm giving you the entire data. The entire data is sent through the parameters. I will send the entire data as a object. So the complete values, whatever the values that I have inside the object, I will be sending as it is. That is the first one, that is pass by value. The second one that I have is pass by reference. What is the second one that I have? Pass by reference. Pass by reference in the sense you're just sending the address, not the entire value. You're just sending the address, not the entire value. So how many ways I can send the object? I can send the object in two ways. The first one is pass by value. The second one is pass by reference. That is what you need to remember if you are sending the object as an argument. If you are sending the object as an argument. My dear students, I will repeat. You are sending the object as an argument. You are sending the object as an argument. So how many ways you can send? You can send entire data. So if you are sending the entire data, I will just call it as a pass by value. If you're just sending the reference of that object, then it is a pass by reference, is what you need to remember. Moving on to the next one. Very, very important part. I have come to the end of this chapter. My dear students, I have listed some of the important 1-mark questions in this chapter. Please take a screenshot of it. I'm just moving out of the frame. All of you, please take a screenshot of it. This is the 1-mark important question and this is the 5-mark important question. Hope you have taken the screenshot of both 5-mark as well as 1-mark. Suppose if you have not taken the 1-mark screenshot, please take it. So this 1-mark question as well as 5-mark question now. So please take a screenshot of it. So all these questions you should be able to answer. Only then I will understand that you have understood all the topics in this chapter. So these questions are very, very important. This was the previous year question. Some of the questions are from previous year papers. So some of the questions are very, very important. You're not supposed to skip any of these questions. Once you are done with this chapter, you should be able to answer all these questions, my dear students. You can expect 2 questions from this chapter, 1-mark 1 question and 5-mark 1 question. So this is what I would like to suggest you. And in the coming session, I will be discussing the next chapter, that is function overloading. So stay tuned, stay safe. Thank you very much.